What's up, gotcha gamers? So Romancing SaGa Re universe is coming out with over 100 different styles, and today we'll be taking a look at all of the SS styles that are launching with the game. We believe that every character style has a place in the game where grinding and character stats overshadow any of the actual abilities. You can basically make any character style viable as long as you invest enough time in it. So the first character style we're taking a look at is Will. Now he is rather peculiar because he has 2 fire skills, but he isn't a mage, so he needs to be equipped with a fire element weapon, and even then, his fire skills have been reported to be very weak. It doesn't really fit into any role well. It ends up being a flawed SS style character, and for this reason, we're placing him in the C tier. Now the next one on our tier list is Gerard. On paper, Gerard looks amazing, a tank that attacks multiple enemies and has increased damage defense at full health. Sadly, a single AoE or attack from the enemy reduces him to an underpowered damage dealer. He seems rather underpowered and doesn't really belong anywhere unless you truly lack a slashing tank or DPS character. Since you also gain Hector SS for free, it's better to put your time investment into him instead, and for this reason, we're placing Gerard into the C tier. Next on the list, Thomas. He is an interesting fellow because one of his abilities can decrease target stun resistance at random, and one of his skills do stun the target, so both this and the ability are complementing each other. But his damage output is rather mediocre, even given the fact he receives large damage dealing increase when at full health, and his last skill is only of power rank S, so for this reason we're placing him in the B tier. Next, we've got one of the cooler dudes, Gray. He really gets to shine at the last wave of enemies due to his ability to increase his damage after each kill. He can also reduce the enemy's agility or even paralyze them. His S style also allows him to inherit a strong column attack. Sadly, he is somewhat lacking at the start of a fight because he needs to score a few kills, and for this reason, we're placing him in the B tier. Next on the list, Chubby Zoro, also known as Robin Fake. This Robin is rather good when used to farm stages with multiple enemies due to his second skill, and his last skill has a power rank of SS. However, as of this moment, this is the only style Robin Fake comes with, and for this reason, we're placing him in the B tier. Next on the list, Mikhail. Mikhail niche lies in taking care of undead enemies, but he also has nice abilities like boosting his damage dealing and recovering BP from time to time. You can make him even better by inheriting poisoning skill from his A style. He is a well-rounded character with a niche use, and for this reason we're placing him in the B tier. Next one up, Charl, the Blazing Spear expert. Charl's Flame Whip is an amazing skill that can potentially paralyze all opponents. The only drawback is that the other 2 skills are piercing and not flame element. His last skill also has the power rank of SS. Overall, he's kind of split between dealing physical damage and elemental damage, and you really need to find him a fire element spear before he can shine. So for now, he's going to the B tier. Now this next style I've been using myself since the soft launch, and that is Monica. She can stun, paralyze, and taunt enemies. She is almost the perfect tank with a strong grasp on control skills. You unlock Monica and her puzzle pieces by progressing through the story, which makes her even more impressive. The only drawback being is that her performance is a little average and her stun and paralyze quite often miss, so she gets to land her spot in the B tier. Now the next lady style we're taking a look at is Barbara, and she almost looks like a Streisand. So her style allows you to take control of enemies by stunning and paralyzing them. 2 of her skills target multiple enemies, so she really shines in stages with many enemies. One of her drawbacks is the high BR requirements for these skills, so it's highly advised to inherit lower cost skills from her other styles. But she still brings a lot to the table, so we're placing her to the A tier. Now our next style is given out to everyone in the tutorial mission, and his name is Hector. He's especially good if you manage to unlock his A style Orion, because then you can inherit a skill that paralyzes enemies. And due to his survivability where he can heal from getting attacked, and the fact that he increases his damage dealing even more from his abilities, he is a not so shabby slash attacker. He is sort of in the middle regarding the slash attacking damage, but he makes up for it with the second skill that targets column of enemies, so we think that he deserves the A tier. Now the next one on the list is the Lizard Awe. So he's sort of a mixture between SS Hector and Gerard styles. His performance peaks while being at full health, he has access to a solid column attack, and his last skill has the power rank of SS. The only drawback is that his performance does go down when he loses max health, so he can't really act as a tank, even though one of the abilities also decrease damage, but that also comes from being at max health. Still, he's a very solid character style, and we're placing him in the A tier. Next one on the list, Aisha. She can petrify all enemies, and she can also strike some powerful blows due to her innate ability to have a large damage increase at full health. The problem with her petrification stems from the fact that it requires intelligence and earth type weapons, which you will need to equip to sacrifice her raw damage with non-elemental weapons. But as Uncle Ben said to Spider-Man, with great potential comes the A tier. Next up is the Masked Warrior Terry. So his style has access to an amazing SS power skill that can make short work of some of the bosses. Sadly, his other two skills are not really worth using, so you're kind of stuck dealing basic attacks until you charge up your final skill again. The good news is when he attacks at random, he might gain a large damage increase bonus, but then you really need to commit to using his last skill because you're just wasting BP if you're using the other two skills. So for this reason, we're placing him in the A tier. Next one up, Rapina. So she has access to some quick attacks that are crucial for dealing with some high priority enemies that you want to be gone really fast. She also has an ability that can increase her attack damage, unlike other styles where they require you to be at full health, but since she is a sword and not a great sword user, her damage output will not be realized to the fullest potential, but we're still placing her in the A tier because she's so excellent at dealing with enemies fast. So our next style is Ellen. She is rather simple and just solely focuses on dealing single target damage, but she's really good at it, and she can also have a very niche use at attacking plant type enemies with her dynamic chop, which can deal critical damage, and not to mention its power rank is triple S, so she's going to the A tier. Next one on the list, Katarina. Her style really shines in boss battles with great abilities and powerful horizontal attack skill. Furthermore, this style gives a big increase to her strength stat. Her S style also allows her to inherit an attack with paralyze, so she's a very solid fighter, and we're placing her in the A tier. Now comes the legendary knight, and his name is Albert. His style is one of the few who can parry incoming enemy attacks with his second skill. This is an extremely important style for those who have fragile allies in their party. However, due to his tanking nature, his damage output is average at best, so make sure to bring lots of firepower to compensate for the lack of his own. But Albert defines the tanking role, and for this reason, we're placing him in the S tier. Next one up is Cat. So Cat is going to be essential for everyone who will want to farm Aurum, which is gold in the game, because of her ability to increase the earnings. She can also potentially keep the enemies stun locked every turn due to low BP cost, and her second skill can decrease strength of enemies, which proves very useful in more challenging fights with harder hitting enemies. We're placing this Wolf of the Wall Street in the S tier. Next one up is the Power Ranger of Justice, Alkaiser. He is rather interesting because he is a self-sustaining fighter that can regenerate both HP and BP during a fight and becomes even more viable in longer fights. This style skill set is purely focused on single target attacks, so to spice things up, you might need to inherit these other skills from the A style, Red's one-hit knockout. But for now, we're placing him in the S tier. Next one up is the Master of Fire Emerald. This Emerald style will be absolutely essential when facing against heat enemies, and not only that, she grants heat counter attacks against any direct damage she receives. She also works really well when farming stages with many weak enemies. Her only drawback, as with many other AoE specialized mages, is that she will be useless for the most part in the boss fights, but if you're able to acquire her A style, you might be able to make her a bit more better at that. And we're placing her in the S tier. Now the next style we're taking a look at is Rouge, and you can actually unlock him by just randomly getting him from one of the story stages. What's exciting about him is that he can self-heal himself, his Vermilion Sands skill can attack all enemies and cause blindness, not to mention his first skill can keep enemies stunned. He is an expert at controlling enemies and keeping himself alive. If you haven't done so, make sure to unlock him as fast as possible. He will be a very good party member to have. And we're placing him in the S tier. We're not just done yet. Here's another mage. His name is Blue, and he's probably one of the best AoE damage dealers. What's really cool about him is that he gets to save a lot of your time because you get to bring newly acquired styles and take them through story stages, and the heavy lifting will be done by him, while the weaker styles will just rake in the attribute and experience growth. And while he is an excellent AoE damage dealer, he does lack any sufficient damage to deal to any stronger enemies and really struggles against bosses. You could probably inherit a single target damage to him, but really he's a specialist that's best known for farming content, so we're granting him the S tier. Only 4 styles remaining, so we're now taking a look at Ginny. So what makes her really special is because her last skill decreases the enemy's physical defenses, meaning every other physical attacker gets to produce more damage afterwards. If that's not enough, then she can also trigger her abilities to reduce enemies' agility and strength, and on top of that, she gets a large bonus to her damage increase when she's at full health. Not to mention her other styles provide her with more utility, so she's an excellent character you can commit to long term. The only drawback with this style is you need to maintain her at full health to utilize her damage bonus. But because she brings so much value, she gets to be the first one to enter the SS tier. So jumping from one powerhouse to another, next one on the list is Azami. Azami is probably one of the hardest hitting styles right now because she has not one, but two abilities that can grant large damage bonus. And not only does she hit really hard, but she can also deliver these attacks very fast, often getting tagged before any other enemies. She is a one hell of a scary ninja that can melt her enemies with her stylish ninjutsu attacks. And she also steps into the SS tier. Now, if you're ever feeling down, then Sophia's got you covered. She is currently the only SS style character that can provide healing. Sophia actually packs so much value with this style that it's hard to believe the developers have made her free to everyone. That's right, all you have to do is complete some beginner quests and you unlock her permanently, not to mention some puzzle pieces as well. She can keep the whole party alive with her healing, and even after her death, she casts one last AoE heal on everyone. Not only that, but her damage output is actually very reasonable for someone who's primarily used for healing. All in all, just make sure to get her as soon as possible, train her, and be thankful she gets to keep you alive all the time, every time. We're placing Sophia, obviously, in the SS tier. Now our final guest of honor in today's tier list for Romancing SaGa Re universe is Gustave. And oh boy, Gustave is an extremely strong attacker that can also act as a tank for the party. His last skill deals SS damage and he can further inherit a powerful attack from his S style. He's very simple to use and he likes to solve his problems with brute force. All in all, he is the perfect contender to take up the slots of tank, DPS, and is a slashing attacker, so he's a hybrid that performs really well. And that's basically it. This is the whole tier list. Just keep in mind that for the most part, you don't really need to reroll, you don't really need to worry too much about getting anything good because you get so much for free. For example, Sophia, Rouge, you get to unlock those for free. For the most part, you will need to have a healthy collection of different character styles because lots of content needs to be cleared with different characters. It's not enough to just find one character and use it over and over again. For example, the forest dungeon boss has a strong resistance against slashing attacks, so Gustave, for example, would be kind of useless to bring into there. So just keep this in mind, and if you're looking for a guide that explains how styles work, if you're looking for a beginner's guide, or if you just want to read more about Romancing SaGa Re universe, make sure to head on over to gachagamer.com. Check out the links below the video. And if you found this video entertaining or useful, make sure to subscribe to us, hit the like button, and leave a comment below the video. This was Toby with Gacha Gamer. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.